to try to explain this new phase in sports. And I'll start by asking a very pertinent question. Some say you're like a minister of some sort. Some say you're like the head of a parastatal. Some say you are the chairman of a new contraption. Try to capture it for us. This new nomenclature and the whole change. Liken it to us and try to explain it to us.
Well, I think where do I start? It's about legislation. The National Sport Commission was enacted by an act of the National Assembly, accented by the President. And is this the first time we are having the National Sports Commission? No, we have had National Sports Commission before. And what was the structure? It was either minister, chairman, or you say it's chairman, but like a minister or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, what is the most important is getting the job done. All this contraption about who knows what, I don't think it doesn't really matter. But by logic, if you look at it, if the ministry is removed and the chairman of the National Sports Commission is the head of the sports in Nigeria, he's the czar of the sports in this country. So what does that mean? And he replaces the minister handed over to the chairman. What does that tell you?
Okay.
It tells you something, right?
Yes.
So that means the chairman now assumes the roles and responsibilities of the minister of sport. So whether it is called minister, whether it is called whatever it is, the issue is, are we going to get the job done? That's the most important thing. With the Sports Commission, which is meant to be professionalized for experts who are passionate about it, now the chairman naturally has to be somebody who is involved in the system, who knows what it is, and then now he can take over so he can drive the process. Likewise, the DG that is coming, for example, it also has to be somebody who is experienced in the system, who is also involved in the structure. So you can see the beginning point is at least are people that are really on ground and they know what to do. So I think this is most important. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as the law perceives it, the chairman is it's cabinet ranked.
Yeah.
So it replaces the minister to do that. Doesn't mean, but the job is to focus on sports, not the politics of the government.
All right. I've heard grumblings from people that this football person has come and maybe there will be focus on football. So my own question to you is not what you're expecting, but how will sports be funded in Nigeria? Because I've spoken to the president of the Nigeria Football Federation. He has complained about funding. If you ask the basketball people, they are complaining about funding. And we have well over 40 federations in Nigeria, and all of them believe they should get funded or their programs should be bankrolled by the federal government. Where is the money going to come from?
Well, that's the reason why we're here. If I can take it, that's the reason why we're here. Because we understand the system. So first and foremost, if you have heard all my comments, my interview, part of what we've been saying is that we have to resolve on a sustainable basis the issue of sports funding in this country. It can't be haphazard. It can't be just wake up and go and meet the president to collect intervention funds and do. There has to be a clear focus and a clear roadmap on how the funding is going to be generated. And this funding has to be like 2 ways or 3 ways, for example. It has to be public, has to be private, and has to be even individuals. But the framework has to be set to drive that. And that is the first thing government have to do. Government have to set out the framework to enable for government to understand, yes, we as government have to do this to get this to work.
Okay.
And that is what interventions they have to do, the infrastructure or what have you, what kind of strategies, legislation, executive orders that need to be put in place, concessions and benefits, to drive the private sector participation as well. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very particular, very specific about what he wants to achieve. We have to drive the sports economy. We have to create a sports economy where, what do you mean by sports economy? People think about it. No. We have to look at how many value chain of businesses and industries that feed up sports. That's why we are talking about the National Sports Development Fund. That fund has to be funded one way or the other. So we have to create a little system where we can draw funding to that fund from both the public, the private, the individuals, levies, taxes, and stuff like that, concessions to people. So if that is done, from our projections and exactly, if we do it properly, that National Sports Development Fund can be able to attract a lot of funding into it that can be able to put sports funding on a sustainable basis. So all these issues of funding will stop. What we'll be focusing on is how to develop the infrastructure and how to develop the athletes and how to develop the performance and domestic industry and economy of sport, and also how to prepare our athletes to perform at the best way.
Okay, I would like to just jump in here so that you tie it all off. We know that Nigeria's funding basically has a budget cycle and the rest of them. And so we're coming to the end of one supposed budget cycle, and we'll be starting one in January. So how does all this fit into that?
That's why we're here, because we are the professionals. We can now go and sit down with the relevant colleagues and agencies of government to explain what the sports really need, because we understand it clearly. If you put somebody who doesn't understand it, he cannot be able to convince anybody to do anything. So we have been speaking, since I come in, I've been speaking, even today, tomorrow, I think I have a meeting today with the budget people. Tomorrow I'm engaging the budget people to understand that sports need a lot of funding. And then what we need now is the government to make the initial push. Once the government put the initial push to go forward, by the time we tidy up the act, tidy up the sport development fund and the private sector and anything, maybe along the line, the next couple of years also, sports will be the one giving government back money, because everything will have been put the right way.
A lot of people within the sport ecosystem are getting excited. They say President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has opened his arms and he has helped facilitate IMG coming in. Explain to us how that will be a game changer.
Well, locally it's something that I've been working on before. Since 2013, when I was involved with the league management company, the league. We have a conversation with the IMG and I bring the IMG to see what they can come to do. After that, I tried to bring Fox Networks Group. They were here in Nigeria also trying to see how they can intervene and invest in the domestic scene. We tried to do Red Strike. All those deals are similar to what we are trying to do now with the IMG. IMG are professionals, and the fundamental of what we are trying to resolve, first and foremost, is to resolve the capabilities for the production of the domestic games. People, even on your network, I see a lot of people come in every day, your colleagues talking about, the games are not on TV, this. No, Nigeria have sports, football in particular also, cannot develop outside the problems and the deficits in Nigeria. It has to develop within that context. So we have a deficit in infrastructure, including even the broadcasting infrastructure in this country. So to produce a single game of football, it's a huge investment. Even as a couple now, I think it should be more than 25 billion, 30 billion if you want to produce a proper football match.
Is it for a season
for one game?
For one game?
Yes. It will cost you as much as that. If you want to produce one proper football match in Nigeria.
How much did you say again?
Yes, my cost is between 20, 25 million, 30 million.
Wow.
One game. So, because we don't have the deficit of infrastructure. You have to truck your OV van from Lagos to here. You have to fly in about 25, 30 people to the venue, give them hotels and bandwidth, everything is paid in dollars, and even the OV vans. CAF are paying like about $40,000 per match.
Wow.
For the production.
Wow.
That's what CAF pays. One game, $40,000. Some 3-4 years back, it's about $30,000. They used to deduct, ask Rangers. For every game they produce for their matches, they deduct $30,000 from their monies.
Wow.
So, part of what we are trying to resolve with the IMG is to resolve that, which is also a project I've even worked with before with the NTA and everything. That, look, we have to decentralize this, create production capabilities across the country, not just create everything in Lagos and a few OVVAs. Within every state or zone, there has to be production capacity, OVVAs, new technology, train people, which are creating jobs. They don't have to be full-time staff. The camera people, the cabling people, the sound people, everything has to be based in that area, so that when you're having a game, you just book them to come and do the game, so the cost will be a bit lower and faster to do that.
So are you assuring Nigerians that very soon, local matches, whether it's for the league, for women's football, for men's football, will be accessible?
MG are coming. First and foremost, we have to work to settle the production hub and everything. Though it's still on the talks, they have not been concluded. And then also we look at how to now restructure the leagues, to market it properly, bring the private sector to do the revenue. The focus is within the next 5-8 years, the league should be taking up in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The value of the league, not the revenues. I'm saying the value of the league that should come. So to do that.
Okay, so 2 more questions. One of them, let me put you on the spot. Who becomes our next coach for talking about the Super Eagles?
Well, that's not, at the moment, that's not the limit of the national
No,
sport.
because we have 4 months to the World Cup qualifier in March.
We just finished a meeting.
Yes.
Now, a few hours ago, myself, NFL president, my DG secretary, and also the players, all the players. We put ourselves, to have a conversation and see what direction are we going to go. How do you plan for March? Because we are resuming the World Cup qualifiers in March. Yes, we just lost a match against Rwanda, for example. Maybe it's painful, wanted to win, but it might be a blessing in disguise. Because I recall in 2018, when we were in the NFF, we lost here in Uyo as well against, in the AFCON qualifiers against South Africa.
Yes.
We lost 2-0 or something.
Yes.
That was the match that gave us a tonic. By the time we returned to complete the World Cup qualifiers, we have Cameroon here, 4-0. We are beating Algeria, we are beating everybody. We qualify with a game to spare. So we maybe believe that this result might be something.
But also,
so
PTF.
between now and that time, everything will be...
Do we need to resort to the PTF days whereby if task force will be set up to qualify us for the World Cup?
I don't need about the task force play football. Get the point. So
but they got us to the 2010 World Cup.
Whether task force or no task force, the issue is that everybody have to come together to work together. Anybody who can contribute something to drive the process, like for example, we have an Amaji Pinnick, who is a member of CAF, member of FIC, member of FIFA executive, CAF executive, former first vice president of CAF, former president of the NFF. His experience. He knows, he can advise. So everybody like that, we have people at home that have retired before. Everybody can come together and we consult ourselves and see how we can drive. The most important is what we discuss now. I can make it public. What we discuss now with the players is to resolve the issues. They have issues that need to be resolved so that they can put their mind into the World Cup qualifiers by the time they come in March. One, when they won the AFCON, they were promised houses by the president that need to be quickly resolved. Okay. It's in the handover notes I received, so we have to continue the conversation. I'm sure it's because the housing likely are going to come from the Federal Ministry of Housing, and they're still maybe building the houses or something. But let them get the allocation letters and wait for when the houses will be ready. The FCT minister promised them land. So let's get the process done. Doesn't mean the land has to be given right away, but let them get the allocation that the land is coming through so time. That is up. They have outstanding bonuses and salary because dollar differentials have been making the NFL budget to be a big issue for them. Okay. So we resolve all that issue. And then number 4, we have to agree tentatively for the next phase of the qualifiers and other things. What are the terms? What are the bonuses? What are the incentives for the players? So those 4 things I promise to work on as quickly as possible and engage everybody involved and get it off their head so that we can focus on what the job at hand. And then anybody, whether it's a task force, whether it's the small committee of people that can coordinate and support the NFF and work together with them and get everything done. Work up in America, 48 countries. It will be really tough.
Yes, it will be. And exciting.
If you miss the World Cup,
it will be painful. So let's talk about, just briefly, if you can explain the governing structure of the National Sports Commission. How does it work? What's the hierarchy? We know the chairman, the DG, and...
Yeah, it's a commission. The commission is supposed to have the chairman and maybe some board members and then the administrative officers to do that, So, but as I told you, we're trying to upscale the act to make it much, much better. Okay. Have a proper structure that would deliver the right vision of Mr. President. Yes, under the structure, yes, the chairman leads the commission, the boss of the commission, the cabinet, like the minister of sports, for example. Then I have my DG, who is also the secretary of the commission, who did do the administrative, head the internal administration of the commission and support the chairman in his activities and execute the decision of the chairman and to get things done, And then we're supposed to have like a board that will advise once in a while to do that. And then we're supposed to have the management and the structure. But we are thinking we have to scale that. because we want to, like, for example, create the best management we felt we could do is to have six federal commissioners of sports.
Okay.
One from each zone of the country, who will now head critical departments of the commission, and then who will also be scheduled to supervise the development of sports down the grassroots from the zone they come from. So that we have directors from the zone up to the state, up to the local government. Because what is more important is take this to the grassroots. We in Abuja should be much bothered about regulations, acting as a regulator before we become organizers of sport. Get those people to get the sports down so we can have a proper pyramid structure of development, starting from the local government, schools, to states, zonal and the national, to do that. So that we thought you should do. That's the kind of thing we want to amend the league to get it to work, to get it to do.
Okay.
Yes, for now, the president have appointed the chairman and the DG. So our job is to drive the process now and create that platform where we can now populate the management and also get the advisory board that will come.
Okay.
With that, the status, the board are supposed to meet only twice a year anyway. But at least we have an advisors that we can consult people to, because nobody knows it all.
I want to say thank you very much for your time. I know you're a very busy man. Thank you for honoring us, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.